bhagavate vasudevaya. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. Narayanang namaskritya naranchaiva narottamam deving saraswating vyasam tato jaya mudiraye. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya. Bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 5th chapter, Lord Rishabhadev's teachings, text 32. I'll again read it through. Yarhi bhavo sa bhagavān lokam imaṁ yogasyāddhā pratīpam ivācakṣāṇas tat-pratikriyā-karma bībhatsitamīti vratam ājagaram-āsthitaḥ śayāna evāśnāti pibati khādaty mehati khādaty sma cheshtamana uccharita ādigdha-uddeśaḥ. Yarhi vāva, when Sa, he, bhagavān, the personality of Godhead, lokam, the people in general, imaṁ, this, yogasyāddhā, to the performance of yoga, ādigdha, directly, pratīpam, antagonistic, iva, like, ājagaram-āsthitaḥ, observed, tat, of that, pratīkriyā, for counteraction, karma, activity, bībhatsitam, abominable, iti, thus, vratam, the behavior, ājagaram, of a python, to stay in one place, āsthitaḥ, accepting, śayāna, lying down, eva, indeed, evāśnāti, eats, pibati, drinks, khādaty, chews, avamehati, passes urine, khādaty, passes stool, sma, thus, cheshtamana, rolling, uccharite, in the stool and urine, ādigdha-uddeśaḥ, his body thus smeared. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. When Lord Rishabhadev saw that the general populace was very antagonistic to his execution of mystic yoga, he accepted the behavior of a python in order to counteract their opposition. Thus he stayed in one place and lay down. While lying down, he ate and drank, and he passed stool and urine and rolled in it. Indeed, he smeared his whole body with his own stool and urine so that opposing elements might not come and disturb him. Please repeat after me. When Lord Rishabhdev saw that the general populace was very antagonistic to his execution of mystic yoga, he accepted the behavior of a python in order to counteract their opposition. Thus he stayed in one place and lay down. While lying down, he ate and drank, and he passed stool and urine, and rolled in it. Indeed, he smeared his whole body with his own stool and urine, so that opposing elements might not come and disturb him. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. According to one's destiny, one enjoys allotted happiness and distress, even though one keeps himself in one place. This is the injunction of the Shastras. When one is spiritually situated, he may stay in one place, and all his necessities will be supplied by the arrangement of the Supreme Controller. Unless one is a preacher, there is no need to travel all over the world. A person can stay in one place and execute devotional service suitably according to time and circumstances. When Rishabhdev saw that he was simply being disturbed by traveling throughout the world, when Rishabhdev saw that he was simply being disturbed by traveling throughout the world, he decided to lie down in one place like a python. Thus he ate, drank, and he passed stool and urine and smeared his body with them so that people would not disturb him. So, previously we saw that how Rishabhdev was traveling all over, unmadavat, or the word used there was in unmada eva, like a madman. He was traveling like a madman. He did not wear any clothes. He had long hair, long beard. His body was smeared with dust because often he didn't even take his bath. And he was just roaming around, traveling around. And about a devotee's behavior, it has been also described that unmadavad, hashati, gayati, rodati, unmadavat. Like a devotee in his ecstatic situation, he sometimes laughs, sometimes cries, sometimes he sings. So unmadavat, like a madman. Just as a madman just wanders around without any external consciousness. Similarly, a devotee also behaves like that in a very, very advanced stage. Of course, that stage should not be imitated. When one feels that intense love for Krishna, due to that ecstatic situation, one becomes completely unaware of his surrounding, unconcerned about his surrounding, and he just behaves according to the feeling that he is experiencing towards, due to his love for Krishna. Then his consciousness, when he is completely projected onto Krishna, and he feels that intense love, then out of that love he does things like that. Unmadavat, hashati, rodati, gayati, lokobhajya, without any external consideration. And so Rishabdev was in that state. And as I mentioned the other day, like one king in the province of Konka and Benka, his name was Arhat. He started to imitate Rishabdev's activities. Who is controlling the sound? There's a humming sound. Where is the control? Anyway. It's too high, I think, the sound. Anyway, so Rishabdev's, this person, King Arhat, although he was a king, he started to imitate the activities of Rishabdev, and that is how another cult started. That's called Jainism. Jainism started out of that imitational activity of Rishabdev. Without accepting the spirit, they started to imitate the external activity. And so at that time, thousands of people were following Rishabdev. And he found it to be a little disturbing. So many people are following him. Because people recognized his exalted position. And they were affected by his influence. And naturally a personality like that, such an exalted personality, displays some spiritual qualities. Due to their presence, all kinds of auspicious things begin to happen. Due to the presence of such personalities, where there is no rain, it starts to rain. Where there is drought, the drought disappears and the land starts to produce. This is the influence of an exalted spiritual personality. Just like the Pandavas, when senior members of the family and wise personalities like Vyasdev, Maitreya Rishis started to advise King Dhritarashtra that he should give the Pandavas their share of the kingdom. So Dhritarashtra actually gave them the barren piece of land, a desert. Okay, we'll give them half the kingdom. Which part? The part which is useless, desert land. But when the Pandavas settled down there, that place became the most prosperous place. That place became so prosperous that Duryodhana became so envious that out of his envy, Duryodhana decided to commit suicide. He felt he'll enter into fire and give up his body. Then the Danavas came from lower region and told Duryodhana, look, you are our only hope. And if you kill yourself, then what will happen to us? So don't kill yourself. Don't commit suicide. We will do things for you. And that's why we saw what happened afterwards. That kingdom was taken away, Draupadi was insulted. So, and Pandavas had to go to the forest for 13 years. 12 years and 1 year. 12 years in the forest, Banavas, and 1 year Agyatavas. So this is the influence of a pious personality. And we notice that also, wherever ISKCON temple goes, the place becomes full of prosperity. Like Juhu temple, where Juhu temple was there is, when Prabhupada took that place was like, Juhu was like a jungle, so far away. And some devotees thought, why is Prabhupada taking this place? And they got rid of that place. They thought, what we'll do here in such a remote, underdeveloped place. Then Prabhupada, when he got to know that, he was furious. He himself came, he fought against the owner of the land, who was trying to cheat actually. He took the advance and he took the land back, and he didn't want to pay the money back. And Prabhupada fought with him and ultimately got the land back. And today we can see the Juhu is the most prosperous suburb in Bengal. In Bombay. All the big people, movie stars and all those people are staying there. Amitabh Bachchan's house is just next to our temple. So, same thing was with Bhubaneswar. Bhubaneswar temple, the land was so far away from the city, and there was nothing there. By the side of the highway, there was this piece of land. And that land, that place was actually the hideout of the dacoits. All the people that lived there were dacoits. They used to meet there at night because there was nothing there. And today, that is the most prominent place of Bhubaneswar. All around our temple, there are sky rises. In a similar way, things happened in Ujjain also. ISKCON temple came, and so this is the influence of the presence of the devotees. So that's what was happening. That's what must have been happening with Rishabdev. Wherever he went, he saw. Like people saw that all kinds of amazing things are happening. And it has also been described that when Rishabdev passed stool, it was so fragrant that it carried the aroma for miles together. So these are the wonderful symptoms of an exalted spiritual personality. But Rishabdev felt that so many people were surrounding him, following him, that he did not have the time or facility to perform his meditation or be absorbed in the thoughts of the Lord. Similar thing happened also with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was going to Vrindavan, so many people are following Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He felt that I can't go to Vrindavan like this. So many thousands of people are following Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's why he went up to the border of Bihar, Kanai Natshala. In the border of Bengal and Bihar, this place on the bank of the Ganges, Mahaprabhu returned from there. He decided not to go in this way. And finally he came back to Jagannath Puri, and when he decided to go to Vrindavan, he decided to travel alone. And due to the insistence of the devotees, he took just one person with him, Balabhadra Bhattacharya. And he traveled through Jharkhand forest. Like we can well imagine how that place must have been. It was all forest. and filled with ferocious animals. There are all kinds of ferocious animals, tigers, lions, snakes, wolves, elephants, so all kinds of ferocious animals. But Mahaprabhu was not concerned. Balabhadra Bhattacharya reported afterwards. Balabhadra Bhattacharya reported that when Mahaprabhu was going through the Jharkhand forest chanting, then the animals were chanting with him and dancing in ecstasy. So that is the potency of of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but still he's acting like a devotee. So this is the potency of a devotee. A pure devotee, he is so absorbed in the thoughts of Krishna. A pure devotee actually literally experiences that man mana bhava, is always absorbed in the thoughts of Krishna. And as a result of that, he doesn't have any external consciousness. And same thing, same kind of activities were demonstrated by King Rishabhdev. And he was feeling the disturbance, so he decided to just stay at one place. We can see that's also another stage of spiritual development. Paribrajak, he is traveling from place to place. Actually, holy place to holy place, they used to travel. But then they kind of stopped traveling. Paramhamsa stage. At that stage, he just stays at one place. Like the Goswamis of Vrindavan. They stayed at one place in Vrindavan. They were not traveling. Rishabhdev also stopped traveling. And he accepted the occupation of a python. That's why this is called ājagaram-vritti. Ajagar is the Sanskrit name of a python. And vritti means occupation or activity. The activity of a python is that python stays at one place. Other animals, other snakes, they go around and hunt their food. But a python does not move. What the python actually does is that there are two things that a python has. He has an ability to breathe in very powerfully, very strongly. And a python also has the ability to hypnotize. The hypnotism, by looking at the person or the animal, one can actually bring that animal under control. So python hypnotizes the animal and breathes very strongly, inhales very strongly. And as a result of that, the python comes to the mouth, the animal, the food of the python comes to the mouth of the animal, of the python. So, and so python, the point is, the python doesn't move from one place to another place to even get his food. The food comes to his mouth. Of course, the python have to make some endeavor. But a saintly personality, when it accepts the ājagaram-vritti, he doesn't make any endeavor. Food comes to him. How? That Krishna knows. How he supplies food. And in day-to-day life also we see that food comes. People often think that in India people are starving to death. because people are so poor. But did you ever see anyone starving to death? I haven't seen anyone. Everybody gets his food. I don't know how he gets it. The person who doesn't have any income, doesn't have any money, he also gets his food. Sometimes, of course, they struggle, and that's why we have our food distribution program, Food for Life program. And wherever Prabhupada instructed the devotees to distribute food in such a way that within the radius of 10 miles, no one will go hungry. And wherever people get hungry, they can come to ISKCON temple, they can get food. Prabhupada made an arrangement also, even in the West. When Prabhupada went to America and started, Prabhupada gave the system that whoever comes should get prasad. And Prabhupada said, make preparation for 20 people. Like sabji and halwa. And keep the dough ready. So when people come, you just fry the puri, give the sabji and halwa and puri. For 20 people. So when that is finished, make for another 20 people. And if there is any left over, then the devotees, when they come back, after distributing books, they can take that. The point is, everybody should get food. In America, we can make arrangement for 20 people, but in India, I think we should make arrangements for 200 people at a time. And when the 200 people's prasadam is exhausted, we should cook for another 200 people. And the Krishna is providing. Although in America, as you know, Prabhupada went there without any money. He didn't have any money with him. But still Prabhupada was feeding people. When he didn't have any money, he would cook for these young boys and girls. Most of the young boys and girls left home. Although they are coming from affluent background, they are coming from rich background, but they left home and they were just leading a life of a vagabond. They didn't have any money, they didn't have any source of income, and they were just spending their time like that. Often they were hungry, and Prabhupada used to cook for them. He himself didn't have money. Whatever little money he got by selling 1 or 2 Srimad Bhagavatam that he took with him, or in the evening program, some people came and gave some donation. With that money, Prabhupada used to go to the Chinatown, close by, where the vegetables were cheap, where the Chinese people lived. And, and also Chinatown, varieties of vegetables are available. You go to a big American shop, the price is very high. But when you go to this kind of shops in Chinatown, they're like Indian vegetable market. Like all the vegetables are stacked up and you can take whatever you need. And they'll weigh it and then give it to you. And that's why their overheads are less, so they are cheap. So Prabhupada would buy the vegetables from Chinatown and he would cook the prasad and he would feed the boys and girls. That is how compassionate a pure devotee is. And he knows the potency of Krishna Prasad. So he distributes Krishna Prasad. So Rishabdev was being situated in that way. We can go to the next verse, that is also adding to that point, as I just mentioned. Because Lord Rishabhdev remained in that condition, the public did not disturb him, but no bad aroma emanated from his stool and urine. Generally, stool urine has bad smell, but not his. Quite the contrary, his stool and urine were so aromatic that they filled 80 miles of the countryside with a pleasant fragrance. So these are the signs of a pure spiritual personality. So in this way, Rishabhdev was spending his time demonstrating to us how we should lead our life. We also should give up our attachment, family life. Whether a poor man or a rich man. He was a king, but he gave up everything. And initially we may not be able to kind of lead that kind of life all of a sudden. So we can take it step by step. First, the food can be supplied. Leave home, but the food can be supplied. And then one can start acquiring the food, begging. Initially one may feel embarrassed, oh, how can I beg? But then he starts to beg, this is how he is giving up his bodily attachments. He's giving up. Due to our pride, due to a false ego, we may feel embarrassed to beg at the beginning. Just as we feel also when you go out to distribute books, initially we feel embarrassed. Oh, how can I approach people? But then we overcome it. We give up that embarrassed feeling. And similarly, one also becomes free from his false ego and doesn't hesitate to beg from door to door. And then he doesn't even beg. He just travels and whatever comes. And that phase is very interesting actually. Like new place, you just go and you can see how Krishna provides. Once I was traveling on foot. That was in 1979, long time ago. In a way, I started the Padayatra in ISKCON. I was in Chandigarh and with 6 devotees with me, I just started to travel. I thought that from Chandigarh I would go to Kurukshetra, but then we found out that we took the wrong direction. And instead of going towards Kurukshetra, we started to move towards Kalka. That's at the foothills of the Himalayas. Anyway, I thought, what's the point in turning back? Let me just keep going. And we didn't know what would happen. And we had only about 200-300 rupees with us. And that also because when we were leaving, one person who was an engineer of Bhakranangal project, who is a devotee now, he's actually the temple president of Chandigarh temple, Nanda Maharaj Das. Nanda Maharaj gave me some money. I don't even remember, 2 or 3 or some 200-300 rupees. And we did not know what to expect. So after some time we got tired and we just sat down under a tree. And I think a village was nearby. So we didn't have any intention of going to any village or anything. So we sat there and then soon people came. They started to ask questions. Who are we? And then after some time, they all came with all kinds of rice and vegetables and everything, and they wanted us to cook. And so we did that. And then we had a program in the evening in the village, and everybody was, and next morning we left. And that is how we started. The first day we got the taste. And then we would just stop in some village, and every village has some temple or something. If there was temple, and if there was no temple also, we just sat under a tree, and people would come, and the same thing would happen. People would come, they would ask questions, and then they would bring foodstuffs, bhoga, and we would cook. And in this way we just went all the way up to Solan. And so this is how we saw that how people, Krishna takes care. Of course, India is a holy land. But as I was saying, it's a very interesting phase actually. Like in the morning when you start, you don't know what's going to happen to you. And you get such wonderful experiences. I think once I also narrated, I'll tell it again, that one time we came across a river. Small river, but we didn't know how to go across that. We were thinking whether to swim across or something. Then someone came and invited us. And we saw some people were there. They had a tent. And about 10-12 people were there. And they all were very strong-looking persons. I was not surprised because in Punjab, you always come across this hefty, strong personalities. They are really robust and very strong-looking people. And so one person was like a leader, and so he was asking us questions and who we are and things. Then he said, you all please cook some food. And we know that you don't eat our food, so please cook. So we cooked food, we fed them also, and they were happy. And then towards the late afternoon, he sent a man. There was a ferry. He said that that man took us to a ferry where there was a boat taking people across. So when we were walking towards that boat, towards that ferry ghat, this person told me, "Do you know who we are?" I said, "No." He said, "We are dacoits." Even the dacoits are nice to the sadhus. And you get all kinds of wonderful experiences like that, actually, when you are traveling like that. It's so life always is very exciting. And I tell you, we never fasted. Always we got food. Always we got food. And that 200-300 rupees that we had, I didn't have to spend it. I remember when, at some point, when we were walking towards Kalka city, it's quite a large place, and we were just walking. One person came driving in a scooter, and he asked, we were just walking, me and 6 other boys, all in saffron. So this person came and stopped and said, asked us who we were, and I told him. And then he said, "Okay, come, I will meet you at the entrance of the town." And so he drove in his scooter, and when we came to the town, he was there. And he took us to a guest house, dharamshala. And in the meantime, he made the arrangement. And we had one of the most wonderful time there. We stayed in the dharamshala for 3-4 days. And every evening we used to have programs. And so many people used to come to listen to us. So many people would always come and listen to the program. And it created a big sensation. On Ekadasi, those days in Ekadasi, I used to fast from water. So we fasted from water, not only me, all the boys. We all fasted and they got to know. And the word spread that we are such sadhus that we don't even eat anything on Ekadasi. And we don't even drink water. So this is how people do get impressed when they see that we are practicing such strict life of purity. So this is how, when we give up our attachments to the household and enter into this life of detachment and just depend upon Krishna, then we actually get to see how Krishna is actually taking care. So here, Rishabdev is setting such an example. And of course, those days, when one left home, one had to lead a life like that. But nowadays, we don't have to even do that. Prabhupada created ISKCON. So if you want to retire, then you can come to ISKCON. That is going to be your Banaprastha. Not forest, you don't have to go to the forest. You go to Vrindavan, a special forest. And that is ISKCON temple. And when you join ISKCON temple, you will see what a wonderful life you can lead here. How do you all feel now that you have given up everything and joined ISKCON? How many are living in ISKCON, full-time devotees? So how do you feel like this life? How do you feel about this life? Do you want to go home? No, not a single one. Do you want to take up a job? No. So, please learn something from that. And be careful. If you join in ISKCON, then you will never want to go back home. That's the way to go to Vrindavan. Prabhupada used to say, when you go to Vrindavan, you should go there with one-way ticket. That means when you go to Vrindavan, there is no coming back. Just stay there and move forward. Keep moving forward. Hare Krishna, Gaur Premanande, Hare. Does anybody have any question?
You mentioned by imitating Rishabdev, Jainism is, what about the Mahavir Jain?
Yeah, he came after that. You see, after Arahant started that cult, they were behaving like that, imitating Rishabdev. And later on, when Lord Buddha, about 2,000 years ago, 2,500 years ago, when Lord Buddha came, then one group put up, started, then came Mahavir. He started to behave like Buddha. And that path was like the way Rishabdev was behaving. Right? And Arhat was imitating. So Mahavir started to follow that line. And that is how the next branch, the next Tirthankar is actually Mahavir. And it has been said that the Kshatriyas followed Lord Buddha and Vaishyas followed Mahavir. And Mahavir came afterwards, who imitated again, or rather who followed Arhat's path.
Mahavir, he didn't imitate the path of Buddha then.
No.
Buddha was not like this.
He started his own thing. They are similar, they're contemporary. Mahavir and Buddha are contemporary. There was some similarity in a way. Buddha actually made people to take the path of ahimsa. They also kind of took the path of ahimsa. And but their path had, anyway, there is some difference.
What I have to understand is like Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, one who is really advanced in ecstatic love of Krishna, they never try to exhibit ecstatic symptom to outside people. And we find Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he would control himself whenever ecstatic symptom. But we at the same time we find Rishabdev and Lord Nityananda would exhibit in front of public.
Actually, it is not exhibit in the sense one should not, do it to impress the people. But if one is feeling ecstasy, what can be done? And as you were saying, like they would control it. But those days, nowadays people, we have to understand that those days time was different. There was, like nowadays people imitate. That's why the danger. Those days there was no question of imitation. And he was traveling around, not only Rishabdev, many people were traveling around and they would feel the ecstasy and people would see, like Haridas Thakur displayed. Once somebody was singing the glory of Lord Shiva. And hearing that, Haridas Thakur became ecstatic. And there was a Brahmana, he thought, and everybody was impressed and they were glorifying Haridas Thakur. So when this Brahmana started to imitate Haridas Thakur. So the person who was, he was a snake charmer, when he saw this Brahmana doing that, he started to beat him. Because he could see that he was the imitator, so he ran away. So we can see Haridas Thakur also displayed his ecstasy in this way. But generally, it's not desirable. Therefore they used to go away from people in order to, like the Goswamis of Vrindavan. They were feeling the ecstasy. That He Radhe Braja Devike Nanda Suna Kutaha Khedair Mahabhyuhalo. They used to call out in this way, expressing their ecstasy. But they used to do it in Vrindavan, in the forest, there was nobody. So if one wants to experience, that's why the bhajananandis are not meant to live in the crowded people. They should bhajananandena mattaliko. Mattaliko means ecstatically mad. Hare Krishna.
Question from internet printing. Deepesh Bhagal from Bangalore. Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam. We know that Lord Nityananda Prabhu is the most merciful. Then how come Lord Balaram is considered to be a strict personality who sometimes get transcendentally angry?
He's merciful, but like Nityananda Prabhu also used to get angry. It's not that Nityananda Prabhu is just merciful. The question is, that Nityananda Prabhu is merciful, who is Balaram, but we find that sometimes Balaram got very angry. Nityananda Prabhu also got angry. Shivananda Sen was arranging the trip to Jagannath Puri. And Shivananda Sen got late while negotiating the payment with the tax collector at the border. And Nityananda Prabhu was hungry and the prasadam was late. So when Shivananda Sen came, he just kicked him on his chest. So, their transcendental personalities display their transcendental activities in this way. On the other hand, Nityananda Prabhu is very merciful. Akrodha Paramananda Nityananda Rai. Same thing with Balaram. Very merciful. But sometimes he would get angry also. He is so merciful that he even tolerated Duryodhana. Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande Hare. Oh, another question. Okay.
Shambhari Das from Gurgaon. Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam. Rishikesha Rishikena Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. How can we satisfy the senses, the Lord, with our senses? As the other name of Krishna is Adhokshaja.
Yeah, he is Adhokshaja, but you can render service. Adhokshaja means you cannot see him with your material senses. You cannot perceive him with your material senses. But although you cannot perceive him, still you can engage your senses to please him, serve him. Just like you may not see your relative, your son or your dear one is far away. Although you cannot see that person, but you can do things for him. It is not that to do something for that person you have to see him. Similarly, although you cannot see Krishna, but you can render service to Krishna. Okay? Hare Krishna.